Travis again. And he got in. Touchdown Seminoles.
It really did. You know, they went up the middle, they went to the right, they went to the left, and right here you see it, touchdown. He's in the end zone. He got a little help from his friends. Oh.
Wow, there's more movement up front. Travis says, don't worry about it, I got this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Desk here on Sports Radio here on Herb FM Sports Radio. I'm Chris Heidel, and that's Steve Zehyoue with the gold bowling pin. We're trying to figure out how we're going to get it out of the way here. There we go.
We'll figure it out. We'll make it work.
Thanks for joining us this evening. We have a great show lined up here tonight. Coming up in a couple minutes, we'll talk to our good friend Kyle Troup, who has the best hair in the world, better than what we had last week with Miami.
That's true. Yeah.
But no offense to Mike Hollins, who had the hair. So we'll talk to Kyle Troup, see what's going on with him. He's going to be very busy for Thanksgiving. Let's bring in our other partner. There's George Bechera. What's up, buddy?
Hey, busy week, man.
Yeah, busy week. I saw the college football playoff. We'll talk more about that later because I got a guy coming on from here in the local area. He's an AP voter, so I'm going to get him on, and we'll talk a little bit real quick about that. But first, let's bring in our good friend Kyle Troup, who had a monster year this year here on the Professional Bowlers Tour, winning 2 titles, 1 major, the Players Championship, back in, what was that, back in February or April?
Oh, man, that was a long time ago. Back in February.
Was it 2022 or something like that? Yeah, like a long time ago. Kyle, thanks for joining us. How is everything in North Carolina?
It's great, man. Glad to be on the show again. Just enjoying a little bit of time home, getting ready for the upcoming PBA Tour season. Actually, the Players Championship, the tournament that I won, is the first one that we start the season with. That'll be January 15th, and then pretty much shows will be every weekend after that on FS1 and Fox. So really looking forward to that. And, Thanksgiving, we got a busy Thanksgiving coming up, getting to go up to New York and do the Macy's Day Parade. So that was a cool invite.
I heard about that, and I was like, Kyle Troup in the cold weather.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the fro is going to make it in the snow and ice. I'd have to, maybe that'll be the permanent hairspray, I guess, if it gets really cold up there. But
I want to see the bowling alley on the float.
Yeah, that was. They told me not to bring any bowling balls, so I guess I'm not doing any bowling on the float.
You're gonna be doing this. Hi, everybody.
No, this be wave. I already got my wave ready.
Hey, you just hold up one of these.
Yeah.
And Kyle, you just hold up one of these.
I'll pick it out a little bit. Yeah, hold up the bowling pin.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotta have.
I gotta send you some. I would love to send you like a Herbert Them shirt or something like that. And you just wear it on NBC. Go, what's up, dude?
There we go.
I'm sure Storm, his sponsor, would rather their name be on his jersey.
I'll talk to Storm. Yeah.
Give Uncle Bill a call. Give Bill a call. But no, really looking forward to doing that. Go Bowling was sponsoring the float again. They get to be in the parade, and I get to be joined by Shannon O'Keefe. So it'll be cool to do that little event with her. We get to see all the floats and whatnot on Wednesday. I guess that's kind of the day they blow up all the floats. I know I haven't really watched the Macy's Day Parade very much in the last few years, but really looking forward to seeing what kind of floats we have this year. They do it up all the time, so that's pretty cool that they had last year. I'm not sure if we're going to be walking or on a float yet. We get to find that information out a little later. Maybe they'll have a rolling afro or something that I can have an afro on the front of the float.
Hey, Chris, those bowling pins look like the old robotic tackling dummies that Notre Dame used to use. and now I got to go back to therapy because that brings me back to Brian Van Gorder days. Thanks a lot, Chris. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think it would be cool to see Kyle drive a bowling pin. I can see that right now. Driving down New York City.
So they do have the bowling. They have the race car that's a bowling pin. I mean, it goes quite fast. They bring it around to the NASCAR races and to Bowl Expo every year. I don't know if they'd quite let me drive that because that thing's actually pretty quick too for a bowling pin. I don't know if I could sit
maybe
there
if
and
they put
coach
a
in that
fro
machine.
on it, maybe it might be a little bit of representation there.
Put a fro and a little Rudolph nose on the front. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
You could be doing some donuts and making the 7-10 split.
Yeah, I've made it a couple times this year. Hey, I might have a couple more in me.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. So talk about so far. Did you go over to Dubai to bowl in that World Championship thing? You know, with everybody?
No, I actually did not. I had to decline that. I had a lot of stuff going on. My brother's birthday, my girlfriend's birthday as well. So we had a lot of stuff planned. I was in Texas over the weekend bowling a tournament as well. So, but I know that the mixed team, they brought home the silver medal in mixed team. The women's team brought home gold, and then 3 of the guys defended the gold medal that I was a part of in 2019 in the trios. That was Jacob Buttriff, Chris Prather, and AJ Johnson. And then I believe Andrew, I guess, is on the bench, or I'm not quite sure how that works, but hey, we all get medals. So it was a nice performance by USA, but I believe Sweden was actually the country that came out with the most medals. Jesper definitely did some work over there. So, I mean, I got to pull for my boy Jesper after our country. It's good to see he's sharp. He's going to be ready for the tour. So we're definitely going to be ready for the doubles.
I was going to say, over the last year, I didn't see Jesper on the tour a whole lot. Was that just because of the COVID protocols that Sweden wouldn't let him out of the country? Or
No, I mean, he actually bowled the full season. He made several shows, but then he lost most of his matches. So he was on there pretty quick. He was throwing resin a lot on TV, but, he's kind of learning to, throw that a little bit more. So, we're really looking forward to getting together for the season coming up. We've actually got to talk about the tour and kind of looking at all the Airbnbs for pretty much January through March.
Nice.
Once he gets back from Dubai, I believe everyone's traveling home today. They've got about a 18-hour less day than the USA boys. So, God bless those guys. Think of them while they're in the air for 25 hours today.
Yeah. Well, you went over to the Weber Cup, a month ago, right?
Yeah, we had that event. It was actually about a month ago now, over in the UK, flying over there, and we bowled really well. And then Europe, they put a big comeback on us, and they actually won in the final game. The Weber Cup, it came down. I personally bowled the worst probably out of both teams. My ball reaction was not very good. I won a few points, but definitely wasn't my best performance there. So kind of stung a little bit. So we've been back on the lanes since I've been back home, really trying to get the game right, get ready for next year. We still got a little bit of work to do, I'll be honest with myself, and kind of just getting everything tuned back up to where we really want it. But hats off to Europe and Jesper and all those guys. They bowled really well, and it was good, I guess, for Europe to get the win for 1 year. We had won it like three in a row, so it was getting a little out of hand. I guess they needed to out bowl us a little bit.
They should just stick to curling. Stay out of the ball.
Good George, good idea. Yeah,
I'll deliver the message to Jesper.
Yes, and I'll go home.
I'm sure he'll love that.
Yeah. Talk about you just texted me before the show. Talk about this new sponsorship you and Sean Rash are working with.
Yeah, so we actually just announced a new sponsorship over the weekend. It's with Ray's Eyewear. This is a company based out of Colorado. Sean was good friends with a guy that works there, and they had a deal for both of us, and so we're excited to partner with them. We've already had some messages from the guys saying there's been lots of support. We do have a coupon code. It's BOWL15, gives you 15% off. The glasses they're pretty sleek. I've got a package coming in. I looked at them, and they've only been around for a few years, but they've got a lot of resources. I think they've really got a lot of things planned for next year, even getting into the bowling industry a little bit, partnering with some different brands and whatnot. So we're really excited to partner with those guys. I can't wait I might even have to try and bowl with some glasses sometimes. Might have to shout out Pete Weber. I'm on TV. I'll be working on that in practice. You best believe that. But it's exciting to get a new sponsor. A company that's excited to get into bowling. They've worked with golf a lot, so kind of getting a golf partner, getting interested into bowling. It's really exciting, and so far they've been blown away with the support that Rash and I have kind of driven their way already, just from a few posts on social. So really excited to see the bowling world kind of get behind it a little bit and support this company. And hey, they look good, and they're fairly reasonably priced glasses too. I'll be honest with you there. They're not your super expensive glasses, and they've got a lot of different looks too. So many different looks there, and excited to see what they have going forward to next year.
Yeah,
Nice.
a lot of the guys I bowled with is I bowled for 28 years on leagues and tested the waters a little bit in the PBA regionals. Didn't get very far with that, but a lot of the guys told me that I bowl with, they're bowlers in the fall and winter and golfers in the spring and summer. So
yep, that's how it is. I'm actually still playing a little bit of golf right now. The weather, it's actually going to be 75 tomorrow. I've got a lot of stuff playing though, so I'm probably not going to play golf. And then it's going to rain Thursday, so we might have to wait. But we still got a little bit of golf weather down here in North Carolina, which is nice. But a lot of the time is going to be spent in the bowling center for the next couple months. Got some local events coming up, in South Carolina and then in Greensboro Thanksgiving weekend. So going to start tuning up there and then get ready for the tour come January.
Nice. So let's talk about this Players Championship. They're doing the same format they did this past year. You got an Eastern Regional, Central. Where's the East Regional going to be this year?
Yeah. So the Players Championship is going to be in 5 regions, like you stated, just like last year. I'll be in the East region again. It's going to be in Richmond, Virginia. I would have to check to give you the exact center. It's an AMF house in Richmond. It's actually a different center than we bowled at last year. It's going to be 4 patterns. I believe it's 6 games of qualifying on each pattern. Pretty much 12 games Saturday, 12 games Sunday. The top 5 make the cut for the step ladder, and that'll be the following week down in Euless, Texas. They'll tape all 5 regions. I believe they're hosting the first show live on Sunday, so that would be the weekend. I believe January 23rd. Okay. And then they will air the regional finals throughout the week following, because the following weekend, the 29th or 30th of January, is the 5 winners for the Players Championship and the 100,000 for first. They came down a little bit on the prize fund this year. So I cashed in the ticket last year with the big hit, but they've got 5 majors this year paying 100,000. So it's exciting time, some new sponsors coming on board with the PBA, hopefully, and really see what they want to bring to the TV, a new product again.
Yeah, I got to talk to. I really want to bowl in that, because I may have to talk to Mike Albee. Albee might have to help me out a little bit. And
hey, he's a man of lots of wisdom. He's a great guy too. So.
We have Danny up here in Baltimore. I could call Danny anytime. Like, Danny, what you doing? Nothing.
Yeah. I hear from him. I hear from him a few times a year as well. It's always good to run into those guys. And it's. I believe my brother is going to bowl the Players Championship as well. He was telling me that the other day. So we got a little practice in on the lanes today, and just kind of trying to get ready, man. It's time to put in the work again, kind of like we did last year around this time. This is when we really flip the switch, get to practice and putting a lot of work in on the lanes and hitting the gym, really trying to get the body ready for about 3 months on the road.
Man, a funny story about Danny Wiseman is I know Danny pretty well. Back in 2018, he went to Orioles opening day down at Camden Yards and actually caught Adam Jones's game-winning home run in extra innings.
Oh my goodness!
At that
what are the odds of that? That not only
that's what I said,
and then we know him as well.
Scott put it up on Facebook page a couple hours later. I was like, wait, that's Danny.
Yeah, I heard that. I was driving home from work. I was, had to park my car and go give him a phone call. So I'm like, no, it can't be Wiseman. Come on,
yeah,
no.
It's a blessing to be at the right place at the right time. Sometimes,
and it was cool he got to meet Adam Jones, and Adam Jones, signed the ball for him, and
Danny gave him a bowling ball too.
Neat.
So it was a piece.
There we go, perfect. Yeah, good little trade.
My ball's bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Size does matter.
Love it.
Oh boy. Well, folks, you can watch Kyle and Shannon on Thanksgiving on the Macy's Parade. That's going to be on NBC. I don't know what time you're going to be on. It's probably between 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I believe
between 9 and noon.
9 and noon. Yeah, we've got to be there at 6:30, I believe, to get ready for the parade and everything. So it's going to be early morning, but I'm looking forward to it. They say, I guess all the celebrities kind of staying at the same hotel. So who knows? Maybe we'll get to hang out or whatever Wednesday evening, with some cool people. We'll see who all's there and whatnot. Just looking forward to the whole experience.
Oh, we'll be looking for you.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
Definitely. I got the fro trimmed up today. I got to pick it out a little more. I lost my pick over the weekend in Texas. That tells you how the bowling went. But if we lose the pick, but we'll be ready. Looking forward to seeing, being a part of it and just getting all the support for bowling, out there.
Yeah, there's a guy down in Miami Dolphins. His name is Mac Hollins, and he had a hair fro last week, and we're trying to think who has a better fro. We're trying to. I was like, Kyle has a better fro, no matter what.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna have to stick with mine, the pro with the fro. That goes
I was like, we were taking some bets underneath the table here. Who has a better fro? I want to get 20 on me. My hair gets a little wild sometimes. I was like, I want to.
You with a fro would be.
I would
scary.
think Kyle Troup hair. Just walk around going, I'm supporting Kyle Troup.
You might be able to grow like an afro beard or something.
Hey,
I keep mine kind of trimmed up a little bit.
George is like rolling his eyes going, why am I on this program?
No. Because the things that are rolling inside my head right now, I just can't repeat.
Well, I want to wish you and your father and the rest of your family a happy Thanksgiving, and good luck with the rest of the practice. And we'll be seeing you in the first of the year on Fox.
And happy holidays, man. This is the first time we're saying happy holidays.
I know, it's happy holidays.
Great. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you guys as well. Hope you have a blessed holiday, and I'm sure we'll talk more, next year throughout the season.
Yeah, and keep us.
That'd be great.
Let us know anything about the sponsorships or anything. We'll promote it and all that stuff for you.
Good deal. I appreciate it, you guys. Always a blessing being on the show. Look forward to kind of tuning into the rest of it and talking to you soon.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right. See you guys. Peace.
See ya. All right, folks. That's Kyle Troup, our good friend from the Professional Bowlers Tour. The Players Champion, from the Players Championship last year in Jupiter, Florida, and then he won the playoffs in Connecticut. So,
we forgot to ask him?
What?
About the Kyle Troup driving school.
Oh, yeah. I had him on during the summertime, and, I said, Kyle, you behind the wheel? He goes, yeah, I'm driving to the practice. I was like, what do you – I said, I don't have any money to bail you out of jail for speeding, man, or getting pulled over for using the phone. I don't know what the folks in North Carolina is going to do. Yeah, so anyway, so George, let's talk about real quick before we get Gary Stokan, who should be logging in very shortly. The college football playoff top four. What did you think about it?
I didn't see it. I was eating dinner.
We were getting our show ready to go here. Here's the top four. We got Georgia and Alabama and Oregon are in the top three, but Ohio State sneaked in at number 4.
Where's the guys in blue and gold?
Blue and gold was. I've been pulling it up. Hold on a second. I pulled it up and I just looked at it real quick.
I was making a pork roast for dinner that was running late.
No, that's okay. That's good. Let's see. Let's pull it up here. Did it give us one? I'm looking for a.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, try to pull it up for me.
I'll just pull up the college football playoff app.
Yeah. Let me see if I got it up here on the.
College football playoffs. Here we go. Notre Dame's at 8.
8. They didn't really move that much.
Where's my flag? I got to throw a flag. I'm not a homer by any stretch of the means.
Yeah.
But Michigan and Michigan State don't deserve 6 and 7 ranking.
One of them should be, and that's Michigan State.
But this is what happens, Chris. They're very nervous. Okay, right. Notre Dame goes to the college football playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying that they lay an egg, but they go in and lose, right? They made in Alabama. They're making them earn their way in. They're making them win out. And right. They may win out. And their only loss is to number 5 Cincinnati, who's not even in the top 4.
I just feel like I know the committee wants them to work hard to get there. Like Oklahoma's done. Oklahoma lost to Baylor. That they are probably number 1 down there, 11 or 17 or something like that.
Was Iowa 17?
Okay.
But no, I call BS. I'm going to call BS. Cincinnati should be in the top 4,
Mm-hmm.
and Notre Dame should be at least at 6.
That's
I don't think that Michigan is all that impressive.
right.
But you know what? That it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, there's some other news in college football today. Virginia Tech is looking for a brand new coach because Justin Fuente and Virginia Tech said, I'm done coaching here, so he's done. So he's out, looking for a new job next year.
The hokey pokey.
Yeah. So so he's gone. He spent the first he's been there since 2015 when Beamer took over, before Coach Beamer left, and then he 26-23. That's kind of a little not the record that Virginia Tech wanted, but what are you going to do? Who are you going to go look for?
Well, look at the seasons, okay?
Yeah.
Last year, you have Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, you had Notre Dame and Clemson.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. And then on Monday, Miami basically fired their athletic director, James, Blake, James, because the Miami former players from Miami, according to the Bleacher Report, my brother was telling me that former Miami players are getting tired of the university. They don't really care about football. They don't care about any sporting program. They just care about medicine and everything else. So there's a committee that I heard Will was telling me on Thursday that they're going to meet this week. According to the Bleacher Report, former players are going to sit down and make their recommendations of what they want to do with the football program, and Manny Diaz might be gone by after Saturday's game. So
I don't know. These outside influences coming in and making these decisions. I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I just think it's why do you I think if you're a university, you shouldn't be involved with all the sporting programs. If you don't want sports, then why bother putting people in pain for a contract for football, and when you just care about medicine and everything else down there, come on, it's kind of just. I think people are just not getting the idea what Miami and everybody else is going on.
It's just not college football is just way different. College football is way different than it was years ago.
Exactly. So, well, it's 7:52. Waiting for our good friend Gary Stokan. I talked to Dylan, his PR guy, this morning. Left a voicemail and said he got it. So I don't know if he left me an email or not. No, he didn't leave me an email. So, well, hopefully we'll get him on shortly. Yeah. 7:53. Let's talk about other stuff going on around the world of sports here.
Bring it up.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on this year. Some interesting stuff. Yeah. Oh, did you see the Atlantic Division tiebreakers? Did you see that? We'll talk more about this with Gary McDaniels at the end of the show.
No.
Okay. Here's what it means. Okay. So Clemson, if they beat Wake Forest this weekend, NC State has to lose one more, or either Syracuse or North Carolina next week, and then Clemson goes down to Charlotte and face Pittsburgh or Virginia.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. But if Wake Forest wins, they could literally clinch, the ACC division title, Atlantic Division title, with the win over Clemson. But technically, if they lose, they're not eliminated yet.
Well, it's because that whole game between them and North Carolina, right? Because that game's a quote-unquote non-conference game.
Right. It's like my brother Will goes, that's a conference game. I'm like, no, it's not. I said, that was a non-conference game. He goes, then why did you have ACC officials at it? I'm like, because they probably that's all they had.
They're probably like the replacement referees from the NFL like 6 years ago.
Oh, the scabs.
Yeah. But it's ridiculous that so basically you could have Clemson taking on Pittsburgh part deux down in Charlotte.
It's pronounced part deux.
Well, I'm using the old reference part deux. Yeah.
Thanks for correcting him, by the way. We greatly appreciate that.
We'll put that in the corrector meter. Yeah. Yeah, we'll pay. So anyway, folks, if you're wondering where the other guy is, he is not here tonight. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Wow.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Hey, he shot fired me last week when he came out and said I didn't send him an email.
So I got something for you.
Yeah.
This came out of left field. The University of Notre Dame soccer team beats Duke and wins the ACC soccer tournament.
I saw that on your Facebook. I was like, wow, I didn't know they had soccer here.
That's pretty darn good. Notre Dame was considered to it's almost like baseball. Well, baseball was picked to finish last too. Yeah. And they went on a tear and they won the championship, ACC championship. Yeah. For the first time in the program history.
That's true.
Never ever say you cannot win. That's a double negative. So right. I guess you can win.
Well, we're coming up at 4 more minutes until top of the hour, but at 8 o'clock we have this gentleman coming on. He's he is a former Chicago Bears, part of the 1985 championship team. This weekend, Ravens and Bears. If you're here in Baltimore, it's Tom THAYER, who works for News Radio 1059 there in Chicago. We're going to talk some Bears Ravens because they haven't played each other.
The Bears.
Yeah.
Bears.
You got to go back to the old Soldier Field with the artificial turf, and his name is Walter Payton. Yeah. Sweetness.
Doing the Super Bowl shuffle.
I know. I didn't download.
There's no walk-up music?
Yeah.
Did you get him any walk-up music?
Oh, speaking of the world of the NFL.
What
about Tom Brady and the Bucs losing to the no-name football team on Sunday?
Loving it.
Yeah.
Loving it. Because all of a sudden
Brady wasn't happy about that one.
All of a sudden, they're talking about the Patriots finishing better than the Bucs.
And that would really be a thorn in the side of Brady.
Yeah, Brady be like, well, Brady did play against them early this year up in Foxborough, and that was like a love fest.
There was a love that if there was a definition of a love-hate relationship, there was a whole lot of love before the game, and once that clock hit 15 minutes, there was a lot of hate.
It was a lot of hate. Hey, did you see a couple weeks ago on Come On Man when what's his name, Bill Belichick was walking into Charlotte with his one leg up on his sweatpants? Did you see that? Oh, no. You got to go on YouTube and download Come On Man 2 weeks ago. He walked in like my father. No offense to my dad. Okay, I know he's not a fashion statement guy. I know he's probably watching probably. Sorry, Dad, for making a comment about your wardrobe. But anyway, but he had one sweatpant leg all the way up to his knees, and the other one walking in. He looked like my father coming in after cutting a grass. Yeah, I was like, what the heck is going on here? Yeah, so they did. Come on, man. Yeah, that's the Come On Man.
That's his good old Bill, in his cut off sleeves from his hoodie.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he doesn't care. The guy doesn't even care if he's if he's wearing pants or not. He doesn't care. Yeah.
He's already moved on, so.
Yeah. Hey, he won his Super Bowls. He's probably going to be coaching the last couple of years, and he's going to go back down to Annapolis and fish and do everything around the Naval Academy. So, well, it's going to be 7:58. Let's bring in Tom THAYER here. I know he's sitting here so patiently. Hi, Tom. How you doing? And thanks for Gary Stokan to join us, but I guess the Peach Bowl president had stuff in Atlanta to do, but he's a good friend of ours. We'll get him on a little shortly later. But thanks for coming on. Big game this week between the Bears and Ravens. I guess Ravens don't come to Chicago all the time. Last time it was a big weather event back in 2013.
Yeah, I remember a couple of crazy games between the Ravens. The Bears going out there. One time you had a blizzard, so we had to postpone it to the next day. And then a couple of years before that, they had some type of long rain delay going on. So, yeah, it's kind of weird that they don't play that often, and weather kind of interrupts it every now and again. Not this weekend. It's going to be a good Sunday.
What's the weather out there? Because I know here in Baltimore it's supposed to be in the 50s. We were supposed to be 75 tomorrow or Thursday, but it's going to be cold over the weekend. Is it going to be Chicago?
It's supposed to be like 60 here tomorrow, and then it'll probably be in the in the high 40s, low 50s, which is great weather. That close to the lake, that time of year, natural surface, and all those types of surrounding things.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what's the Bears are on a 4-game losing streak. They had that tough Monday night loss against the Steelers. That was a good Monday night football game, by the way. I went to bed and I got up the next morning to go to work. I'm like, what happened in the fourth quarter here? Yeah. And I was kind of back and forth. But what do they got to do to contain Lamar Jackson? Are they going to use the same thing that watch from film what Miami did to him last week?
That game plan for Miami was gutsy. As I was watching the tape in preparation for this game, the Bears have a first-year defensive coordinator in Sean Desai. And I don't know if he's got the guts to play that type of scheme. It's, I guess it's going to be unveiled if they come out there and they say, wow, this works so effectively with the Dolphins personnel against the Ravens. Let's try it again. But it won't work if Khalil Mack's not playing. It'll have a tough time working if Eddie Jackson, the safety's not back, who's been injured for the last couple weeks. And if you put a front like that and you don't put pressure on Lamar Jackson, he's going to make you pay like no other quarterback in the NFL can. So, man, I tell you what, Miami kind of lit the match. Let's see if it works again. And if that type of style of that look of a defense, which I've never seen in my 36 years around the NFL. So I guess it's kind of a wait and see type of deal.
Yeah, well, Tom, talk about some of your attributes when you're coming up from when you first started, when you were at helped the Juliet Catholic Hilltoppers to consecutive 4A championships in 77 and 78.
The way back file. The way back.
Well, you know what? It's kind of weird you asked that because I was just talking about it tonight to the younger brother of Rudy, who I grew up with my whole life, Dan Rudy Rudiger from Notre Dame, but I grew up with his family, and his brother's a good friend of mine because he's a strength coach for Joliet Catholic, and they have a big playoff game this weekend that they're pretty much in the playoffs every year. They got a unique style of football. But for me, we ran a wing tee. Nobody played both ways. We never punted, and we only ran the ball. And that's kind of still in the system today. And they're in the semifinals of state this weekend against another team that's, comparative to them. But we had a great high school coach in Gordy Gillespie. We ran the ball successfully. The 4 years I was in high school, we only lost one game. We won the state championship every year. But, like I said, it's a unique brand of football. We didn't throw it. We didn't spread it around. We ran it every play.
So, Tom.
Yeah, also that time where did you know once you got out of coaching that you would come out of with the college with a media communications degree?
Not really. When I got into Notre Dame is like an hour and a half from my hometown, which is Joliet, Illinois, and I'm the youngest of my family, so I wanted to stay close to home. So kind of when I started playing at Notre Dame and I got more confidence and stuff, then I kind of set my sights on the NFL, and that's all I was going to do. I was going to play in the NFL. I didn't have a second option. I didn't see what else I could possibly do. I was fortunate to get a degree at Notre Dame, but it was all full steam ahead playing football. And, really fortunate to be able to be a part of it. And like I've been doing the Bears broadcast now for the last 26 years. And, I just kind of stayed in football, and football is my family. My sister married a teammate of mine from Notre Dame. My brother was a great high school football player that went on to play at the U, and then now he coaches the high school football team here. So, football, that's the deal in my family.
So, Tom, really quick, let me tell you my quick story about Notre Dame. My great-grandfather graduated with Newt Rockne, and they were best friends.
Really?
Yep, my great-grandfather was actually on the football team, was on the basketball team. He graduated in 1913. Graduated Notre Dame Law.
Wow. My dad was born in 1930. So when you talk about that era of players, it's only history to us. But, I mean, anybody that was best friends with the man is got to be a cool, got to be a fun guy to have some lineage with.
I guess when they say Irish is in my blood, I guess it's all true. And now today I'm a writer on Notre Dame sports, so it's come full circle for me.
Yeah, what's weird for me is, like I said, I grew up with Rudy Rudiger, who they made the movie about. But I was, he grew up in a family of 15 kids, so I knew all of his brothers and stuff. I was never a big, huge Notre Dame guy when I was growing up. And when I took my 5 college visits, I went to Purdue, I went to Illinois, I went to Wisconsin. And so I was just and I went to Purdue. So I just tried to stay in the area from where I was from. And when I made my choice to go to Notre Dame, it was the best decision. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. My mom and dad never went to college. They were the Depression era kids. And so when I went to Notre Dame and they made you focus on academics and you were able to graduate, and then I was able to parlay it into first of all, I went to the USFL for 3 years and then went to the Bears. There you go. There's the best offensive line in the history of the NFL. I'm telling you. You go back and you study the analytics of the 7 years that those 5 guys started every game in the NFL. That was a good era in Bears offensive line play.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and you also had a good quarterback, and they had a guy named Sweetness in the backfield.
Best, man. Walter was an amazing person. The thing about Walter, and when we look at all the marquee athletes in the world today, we kind of look at how they are on the field and because we get so much exposure to them. Walter Payton was a neater person off the field than he was on the field. He was the type of guy that if we were all in an elevator together and we were going up and Walter was in there, we'd all be smiling by the end of the ride. And I think that says a lot with the type of person he was. As great as a football player, he was a better person than he was a great football player.
Nice. I got to ask you a question. I was watching SportsCenter this morning. Cover Zero Blitz. What is that? Yeah, what is it?
It's coming all at you. There's no deep safety. There's nobody holding back there in case they hook up on you. You got more blockers at the line of scrimmage, or more rushers at the line of scrimmage than they have blockers. And it's either going to work or it's going to be disaster. And if you have a quarterback that has the skill set of knowing exactly where I'm going to go when you see a front like that, it could be disaster for the quarterback or success for the opponent.
So, Tom, let's go back to your offensive line, but let's bring it to present day. It drives me nuts. These teams pay so much money for these guys coming into the NFL, and they don't protect their quarterback. It drives me absolutely nuts. Justin Fields on any given Sunday is just getting hammered. I could talk about Alex Bars there on the offensive line and everything, but it's more than one person. What is it across the NFL that they're not making a good investment on the offensive line to protect their money?
It's kind of the evolution of offensive line play, from everybody only playing out of a 2-point stance to this zone. I'm kind of an offensive line crabby old guy, because when they talk about zone blocking in the run game, I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe in laterally stepping on the offensive line. But when you talk about pass protection, the whole philosophy of trying to incorporate an RPO offense on all downs rather than, first and second run the ball, third down pass protect. And so there isn't pass blockers anymore. It's all run blocking deceptiveness, whether you're running a screen or it's a play action or trying to, get in like that, just a lateral step and then roll the quarterback to the outside in the development of the athleticism of the quarterback position. One thing about today, I think everybody's trying to look for the golden goose in offensive or quarterback play that can run an RPO offense that has downfield accuracy, and they're still be able to master the terminology of what that they have in the NFL today. It was unsuccessful with Mitchell Trubisky here, and now it's on the cusp of being determined early in his career. Can Justin Fields be a success at this type of offense that you're asking about? Or, is it going to be another quarterback project here? But it looks like it's going in the right direction. And the guy who does the stats for us, I was talking, and I would like to see an 8 or a 7 game starting breakdown between Lamar and Justin Fields to see the path that each of them are on, and where is this taking Justin, and where was Lamar at a 7 game start kind of evaluation.
Yeah. Well, I met Lamar Jackson years ago when we covered the ACC here on the East Coast, and I was doing a show down there in Charlotte. And here comes a shy guy. His name is Lamar Jackson on our list. I'm like, who's this Lamar Jackson kid? So I'm like, all right. So he comes to our booth, and he's so quiet. And I'm like, what are you? What's your game? He goes, well, I like Michael Vick, and he's wearing like a cross and all that stuff. And then he wins the Heisman Trophy. And the next year, he talks to everybody like he's everybody's neighbor. And I looked at him like, what, you become a chatterbox? Have you won the Heisman? He goes, no, I just learned how to talk better. I'm like,
that happens because I remember the first time Jeff Joniak and the guy that I broadcast with, the first time we ever interviewed Tariq Cohen, man, you couldn't get a sentence out of him. He was the shyest kind of introverted guy. And then we did him about, after he started to gain success in the NFL, and I don't know if it was a year later or, 10 or 11 weeks later, he was a completely different person. He was talkative. He was talking in paragraphs, which I love, especially when you're interviewing a guy for a significant period of time. And so I think you see it the same way. But, Justin has always come in kind of media savvy. I think he had a lot of exposure to the media at Ohio State. And then when he came to the NFL level, he was more, polished. But man, when Lamar was coming out of college, I love that guy. If I was a GM, I would have tried to get him as my quarterback as much as anybody that came out in the draft his year.
Yeah, he was great, and then he won. He scored 70 points on my Seminoles. I think he's still scoring. I can still see it now. He was, he brought Louisville out of whatever Louisville was.
Right.
Now Louisville's like looking for that another Lamar Jackson, and I think the NFL is looking for that Lamar Jackson, and I think Chicago has Justin Fields. And if you look at similarities, I think Justin Fields has been watching Lamar a lot in his college days.
How could you not? It's like Kobe. It's like Kobe Bryant not watching Michael Jordan. I think when you watch the NBA and you watch those two comparative athletes, you see a lot of Michael and Kobe. And so I think anybody that has, but there's not a lot of guys that have the skills of Lamar Jackson, the superior speed, an arm that has the strength that he has. And when you talk to about a guy that's the leading rusher and leading passer on your team in the NFL by a significant margin, there's not a lot of Lamar Jacksons out there. As much as Justin wants to be him, it'll take time. But I do think Lamar is a special type of quarterback that you're not going to get your hands on that often. And I think John Harbaugh probably is the perfect guy to have him, because rather than having a coach that thinks he's a quarterback guru or a whiz kid on offense, Jim's a born and bred special teams coach with a dad that was a coach and a brother that was a quarterback. So I think it's the perfect partnership there.
So Tom, I want to bring it back to memory lane here. Senior days this weekend. Notre Dame's playing Georgia Tech nonetheless. Rudy's going to be on campus. Everyone's good at doing that stuff at the university. What was your memory of your senior season? What was the kind of talk about your senior season and senior day?
Well, my senior season, if it was pretty crappy, because Jerry Faust was the second year of his tenure at Notre Dame, and my junior or senior year we had a losing record, and it was the first losing record in 18 years at Notre Dame. So it was awful. But my senior year we went to Pitt, and we played Dan Marino, Jackie Sherrill, and the great Pitt team. They were number 1 in the country, and we beat them. which is probably the one game that comes to mind because my 4 years at Notre Dame, we lost the USC every year.
Oh.
And that's still the biggest hiccup of my football career as a whole. But my senior day, shoot, it's about your mom and dad. My mom and dad, before they passed away, they were married for 68 years. My dad's a blue collar working man. My mom's a working woman her whole life. And for everything my family's been through, we had 5 kids. We adopted 3 kids. And then for my mom and dad to walk out on that field and be introduced and, give them that hug, that's pretty cool on senior day.
That's true. Well, Tom, thanks so much for coming on tonight. I know you have a busy schedule tonight. Thanks for spending a little time with us, and enjoy the game this weekend from Lamar Jackson and the Bears Sunday at 1 or 12 noon there in Chicago on CBS.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Let's talk again.
All right. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Tom.
much.
See you
Talk
guys.
later.
Tom.
See ya.
See ya.
All right. It's Tom Thayer, one of the broadcasters for the Bears taking on the Ravens on Sunday.
Don't think that
It doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
No.
Nah, I'm trying to make it fun.
I use another word when it comes to the Ravens.
What's the watch it. Watch it. I get the
When we lived on the East Coast and we go down to visit my brother down in Ellicott City.
yeah.
We pass where the Ravens play, and let's just say that I gave them a salute.
Oh boy.
That's all right. I told my dad several years ago we were driving out to Ohio to visit relatives out there at Christmas, and we were driving, and we were going to go by Pittsburgh, and I said, "Do you think if I put a Pittsburgh flag outside the window upside down going through Pittsburgh, you think that'd be a good idea?" And he's like, "No, I want to get there to destination alive. Thank you very much."
Hey, I was going to invite you to come to Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. I was like, wait a minute. He's a Cowboys fan. I'm like, that's not going to work because he's going to probably torture Heinz Field. Be like, I can see the news. I can see the reports coming out.
Well, it's not like
strange man just torched Ben Roethlisberger's locker.
It's not like I'm going to go out and pee on the logo.
Hey, you never know. You're Antonio Brown.
We're not up there at Eagles Stadium up there.
Oh my God. Anyway, speaking of NFL, there was a former NFL player who passed away this past weekend, Sam Huff, who I had a chance to talk to a couple of years ago over the phone. Very nice gentleman. He died this weekend, age 87, with a bunch of health issues and all that stuff. So he was one of those Redskin players or football team. We can't use the word Redskins because I'll be fined again.
Oh, you just did. See,
I know.
you got to put on the car.
Hey, I like the throwback. See, they can use the throwback uniforms and it'll be fine. Come on. Give me a break, people.
Nope, not on this show.
No.
Even if you are the host.
Hold on a second. Is it 8:30 yet?
No, you got a lot of time.
8:30 yet.
By the way, I ate dinner before I came on your show because that's what you do. You don't leave at 8:30 to go.
Go do whatever he wants to do. Is he frozen? He's frozen. That is not a scene we want to see. Let me log.
Did we lose George?
I don't know. Let me log him off real quick there. He looked like George. We're waiting for the Calvert Hall football coaches and football coach Josh Ward and also Anthony Zehyoue, who is the head coach of the Loyola Dons, because they're playing that Thanksgiving game they play every year.
Yeah, good old Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, I think he is frozen. Look at that. I'm not bringing him up, but that does not look like George.
And just the only thing I can't figure out is that I know it's got to be some kind of thing with the NFL, but it just seems like every year it's the same teams that play at Thanksgiving. You got the Bears, you got Green Bay, you got my boys.
Green Bay's not playing this year. It
just seems like it's always – you got the Lions. I mean, it just seems like it's always the same teams every Thanksgiving. I mean, change it up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah,
there we go. Bring him back. George, you look like kind of like one of those people. Like, what? There's nothing there. Yeah.
I think somebody got upset that I mentioned something about the Ravens, and my internet went kaplooey. I never have.
We're not going to speculate on anything there, are we, Chris?
I'm not speculating anything.
I never have internet problems on this show, and
No,
that's
you
the absolute first time.
Jeez. Well, let me give Dan. What's called the gentleman we're trying to get on here. We'll wait for the coaches to join us shortly here.
So, Steve, while he's doing that, what the heck happened to the Steelers and the Lions? That was a junk game.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's got to say now Detroit can say they've not lost a game, but they haven't won a game. So, I mean, it's
Well, you can't even go with the phrase "you win some, you lose some" because it's a tie.
Chris, I know. How you doing?
yeah. I mean, it's like
All right, you ready to go real quick?
last week I lost a bet. Yeah, with because I'm a Cowboy fan, so I had a coworker who was playing. We were playing Denver last week, and he said, "Let's put a bet on it." And I was like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" He's like, "Loser buys the other one lunch next week." So, yeah, I lost that bet.
Well, this guy is not losing any bets right now. It's Dave Preston. He is a sports anchor and reporter for WTOP in Washington, D.C. Very good station if you want to listen to traffic and him in the mornings doing sports updates. So, Dave, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming on the Sports Talk with Chris Heidel. How's everything down there in American University?
Fantastic. One can only imagine. We have Georgetown tipping off in about 10 minutes against American. The Hoyas are one of 56 teams entering today winless. Granted, they've only played one game this year, but they lost at home to a Dartmouth team that didn't play a game at all last season because the Ivy League didn't have a year. Meanwhile, American is one of, I believe, 111 schools in Division I to enter today unbeaten. Granted, they've only played twice, but hey, a 2-0 start is a 2-0 start in November.
Exactly, and you still could, you still got a whole month of November and December to get better before conference play.
True. I mean, what's interesting is that I'm of an age where it's usually that Sunday, that weekend before Thanksgiving, and they'd play maybe a game a week for the first couple of weeks before finally ratcheting up until after Thanksgiving. There'd be tournaments here or there, but you really wouldn't. You'd also lighten up a little bit during exams. So it wasn't uncommon to have to be covering a school that they only had, say, maybe 8 to 10 games played before New Year's Day, and then you play your 2 to 3 games a week. So it's the 20th century. It's a different world where teams are going to be having 7, 8, 9 games entering December.
Exactly. George, you got anything?
I just want Georgetown to get back to the good old days. Back, Chris, when you and I were growing up back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was Georgetown basketball. You know what I'm saying? And when Georgetown is doing good, things just seem right with the NCAA basketball. So it'll be great to see these Hoyas get back to the day where you hear "Let's go Hoyas," and it's chanting really loud.
It's going to be a challenge, gentlemen. They were picked to finish 10th in the Big East this year. Granted, I think they were finished either 10th or 11th last year, and they wound up winning the Big East tournament in March. But it's a completely different cast of characters now. Aminu Muhammad, the highly touted freshman, scored 17 points last Saturday in the loss to Dartmouth. A lot of new pieces. Ryan Mutombo, you know the name because he's the son of Dikembe. He's a 7-footer. He'll be eventually a decent presence in the pivot. But this is a very young team, and they're going to Coach Patrick Ewing, I was at Saturday's game against Dartmouth. He said in the post-game presser that there's going to be a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys as this team learns each other and they learn their strengths. And there will be some bumps, but you have to be confident that Coach Ewing is going to put the right mix out on the floor as he was able to do last season. You talk about Georgetown too, the glory days, the 80s. It is a different era. Where football is a huge, revenue provider for the other programs, including college basketball. Georgetown does not have an FBS program. Also, Georgetown was able to recruit, thanks to being in the Big East where you were on ESPN every Monday and then on CBS Saturday or Sunday when you were on every Monday. Now everybody's on TV, so it's a different landscape. But, if you're going to trust somebody to bring back the program, why not Patrick Ewing?
Exactly. And Patrick is a legend down there in D.C. and also up in Madison Square Garden. And I think it was pretty funny last year when he got stopped by the security people. And he said, "You know who that guy up in the rafter is?"
I'm going to actually give it to the guy because, you got to be focused on security.
Right.
He's doing his job.
It only takes one lookalike to sneak through. Plus, Patrick, he hasn't played in 20 years, so he's grown a little outward. He's not as fit, not as trim. He doesn't have that awesome fade haircut that he had way back when. So he doesn't, even though we've seen him every day, I've covered him over the years, so I would recognize him.
Right.
But if you haven't seen him in 20 years, it's like, you might be his uncle. Because, he's, you get to be, it's one of those things that as we all get to be over, 30, 40, 50 and approaching 60,
mm-hmm.
we're not as trim and we do look a little bit different, and he does. So, but I thought that was a nice, amusing thing because, his days as a Nick, his days as a Hoya, he definitely did own that building.
Exactly. Let's talk about tomorrow night, another local game that I'm going to hopefully get to tomorrow night. George Mason rolling into College Park to take on Mark Turgeon and the Terps. Seems like the Terps are playing catch-up in the second half. The last two games they've been trailing at the half. Is that good to do it now than conference play? Because I feel like if you get that out of your system now, you'll be good when you get to March and February, knowing that you could come back in the second half.
Well, I think, to be honest, Vermont is a team that very well could make the NCAA tournament. I can easily see them winning their conference. If they're not the conference favorite, thinking in the American East, they should be. George Washington's also very much improved, too. Jamie and Christian has put together a good group of kids, a nice nucleus with transfers. That's how GW won the NIT 5 years ago behind the Wake Forest kid Tyler Kavanaugh, as well as a few other pieces. So you had Ricky Lindo, who was definitely motivated to have the best game of his career against his former school. And he was there for, I think, the entire first half. He was the only person on either side of the floor knocking down three. So he had a heck of a game. I think you look at a lot of kids with GW. There are kids who thought that they could one day play for Maryland, so they had a lot to prove. I think Maryland's going to get their act together eventually, but it's just a tough early schedule for them. And I think it's important to play tougher schools early because iron will sharpen iron, and the Big Ten is going to be as good as any other league is going to be. And I think George Mason's going to provide an excellent test. They had 3 wins last week against schools that could very well compete for their league championships.
Exactly. Well, Dave, I'll let you go. I know you're going to get ready for that game down there at American University. Thanks for taking some time tonight, and we'll get you on after Thanksgiving. We'll talk more Terps, more local basketball, and also you're an AP voter, right?
Yes, I am. So I get nasty emails from places like Lubbock, San Diego, all over the place. It's always amusing, but what's cool is that people are that passionate about their teams, and it's this is my 4th year doing this, and it's an honor and a privilege, and it also gives me an extra excuse to watch a lot of hoops over the winter.
Yeah, and George put down don't write him an email.
Oh no. Well, we won't ask him where he placed a couple different teams that don't belong in the spots.
We'll get him on for like a Tuesday night. We'll get him on another Tuesday night. There's no local basketball. We'll dissect the college football playoff pretty much.
We could do that roundtable discussion, Chris.
Hey, we can do roundtable with Dave and a couple other people. We'll work on it after the holidays.
Certainly, gentlemen. Thanks again for having me on.
All right. Talk to you later. Happy holidays.
Yep.
That's good. That's Dave Preston, who works for WTOP in Washington, doing the game tonight between Georgetown and America University. So that's going to be interesting. 8:30.
Chris, I was going to bring up the whole security credential thing about Ewing in the Madison Square Garden issue. You won't find another guy that was more defensive of that security guard than I was.
Yeah.
Because all that guy was doing was his job.
Oh, no, he was just doing his job.
They give you a credential for a reason. You get on the guy, you jump on the guy for not knowing who you were. He probably wasn't even born when Ewing was playing with the Knicks.
Exactly. Well, I do have a story real quick. I remember the Calvert World Series. We used to work, over in Aberdeen, over in the Ironbird Stadium. And at the time, we weren't broadcasting. I was helping the Ironbird, the Ripken World Series, doing security or checking tickets. And Billy Ripken comes up. I go, "Sir, can I have do you have your tickets, sir?" And he goes, "I'm Billy Ripken." I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "Sorry, sir." He looks at me and goes, "Thank you very much for stopping me. I appreciate that, because some people don't do that. They just let me just go right up." And he's like, "Who are you?" And then I introduced myself. He goes, "Nice to meet you." So now every time I see him, I was like, "Billy, got a ticket?" And he goes, "I'm good." All right. Or my dad still thinks he works at Dippin' Dots. There's a story about that we'll tell another time. But I'm like, oh God, my father. Anyway, so 8:30, we were supposed to have a preview of the Turkey Bowl here in Baltimore, but I guess the coaches tonight had something going on. But we'll try to get them on probably maybe next Tuesday if they're available. Next Tuesday we'll be on at 7:30 to 8:30, just an hour, because I know everybody's getting ready for travel day, and Wednesday is a big travel day. I know George is whooping up the bird and everything.
Nope. I'm on vacation. I start vacation on Friday afternoon this week.
Okay.
And then I'm heading out to LA.
Oh.
I leave for LA on Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We're bringing Thanksgiving dinner in for the first time ever in my 50 years of existence on this earth. Jeez. I am not making a turkey on Thanksgiving.
Well, that's good. Well, we're going to cook something for Nicole's father. It's his birthday, so we're going to go cook food down there at their place. So
does that mean I don't have to have the fire department on standby?
I mean, once because I'm cooking.
Hey,
yeah,
for Chris.
For Chris, yeah, that's definitely one thing. Yeah.
Well, we know this gentleman. I know this gentleman doesn't need a fire department to help him out. Josh Reagan, who covers the Capitals. The Capitals are on the road this weekend. A big the Golden State trip. Plus, they go to Seattle. So it's going to be a very interesting week for the Capitals. So, Josh, thanks for joining us. Just talk about tonight's game, starting this big road trip before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so they're playing the Anaheim Ducks, a team that's a bit of a surprise this year. They weren't expected to do much, but they've been red hot of late, even with the turmoil going on there with their general manager being investigated and having to resign for unprofessional actions over there. So interesting team that they're playing against. Plus the Caps are still dealing with injuries and now a player in COVID protocol. Lars Eller is not going to play tonight because he is in COVID protocol. So it's going to be a bare bones team for the Capitals playing out west.
Jeez. Go ahead, George.
I was just going to say the division is just very weird this year. The standings are just crazy. I was just looking at the standings. Let's see here. The Capitals are there sitting there in second place, and at the bottom you got the Penguins. It's just very weird this year that the Penguins aren't just competitive, but I don't know what's going on with the Metropolitan Division.
Yeah, so the Metropolitan Division is clearly the best division in hockey. And so you have all these teams, even at the bottom of the standings, like you said, Pittsburgh has been dealing with a lot of COVID outbreaks. Sidney Crosby has only played in 2 games all season. Yep. So you expect them to rebound a little bit. The New York Islanders are also down there too. They have 13 straight road games to start the season. So they're going to get hot once they start playing at home. The fact that they've been able to tread water says a lot about that team. So you can expect them to bounce back up. The Columbus Blue Jackets have been a surprise. It's probably not sustainable. They're probably going to fall back a little bit. But every team, the New Jersey Devils are much improved. Philadelphia, they could be really good. They could be really bad. They still could go either way right now. Carolina is easily the best team in the division. They're going to be tough to beat. So there's a lot of competition in this division right now. So it's really good that the Capitals, despite having so many players out, are still being able to rack up points because, that means they're not going to have to be making up for lost time later in the season. So with this division, that's huge for them.
Yep.
Well, the Caps are opening up this Western trip in Anaheim. Then they go to LA. and then they go right back to San Jose, and then they got to go to Seattle. That's kind of one of the weird trips for them. They never played in the state of Washington. I guess they never had an exhibition game up there.
As far as I know, no.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
What better name than for a hockey team than the Kraken?
I love it.
I absolutely love that. When they made the announcement, I loved when the Vegas team made their announcement, of their team name, but the Kraken and their logo is just, it works.
The name is great. The logo is great. I love everything about it, except their draft, which was terrible. But so they're not a very good team right now. But otherwise, I love everything about that team. That's great.
Yeah. So, Josh, talk about the draft. Right after the Knights drafted, they went all the way to the Stanley Cup in their first year against the Capitals. I guess everything now is like, we're gonna keep all the good players and give them all the ones from like Hershey and South Carolina and everybody else, right?
Yeah. So it's sort of interesting. There were a lot of general managers that gave Vegas a lot of decent players in order to avoid, because they didn't want Vegas to select certain players. And then it turned out for Vegas that the players that they ended up getting were really good and played really, really well. And so you see a lot of these deals where it turns out that a team traded a really good player to keep their hands on a really mediocre player who didn't do very much for them at all. So that was interesting. And so a lot of general managers learned from their mistake and decided going in, okay, we're going to lose a good player. So you can just take a good player. We're not going to give you anything extra just to take a different player and watch it blow up in our faces. Now, the flat salary cap meant that a lot of teams had to expose a lot of really good players just because, they had to value, okay, this player might be really good, but that contract is going to be hard for us to swallow the rest of the contract. So there were a lot of good players that were still available, but Seattle's played it a little bit more conservative than I would have liked. I didn't want them they didn't need to take every risk, but they could have taken a lot more risks than they did. And so the result is a pretty mediocre looking team that doesn't have much identity right now. They're pretty good. Well, on paper, they're good in net with Philip Grubauer and Drieger. They're not playing that well. Defensively, they're pretty solid. Offense, you just wonder who's going to score goals for them. So didn't like the way they ultimately handled the draft. I thought there were opportunities there. I thought there were better players available to them, and they just didn't take the gamble as many times as I thought they should have.
Yeah. Is number 8 going to score tie Great Gretzky before Thanksgiving or before Christmas? Yeah.
It certainly seems the way he's going. It's crazy. There have been 3 or 4 times in his career where everyone said, okay, so I guess he's regressed. He's not going to be that top goal scorer, and he keeps doing it. And the thing is like you say that when he's 25, 26, okay, he's still in his prime. He could still rebound. He's 36 years old. He's 36 years old now, and what he's doing is absolutely incredible. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's a more regular calendar. He trains a lot in the summer, and he's basically like a boxer where you train yourself up to your peak right before you start. And so he was ready to go when the season started. And last year, not knowing exactly when the season was going to start, I think that really affected him. And we saw that over time, plus the condensed schedule, that really sort of wore him down a little bit. Now, it's early. He's playing 2 minutes more than he's averaging over 2 minutes more per game right now than he did last year. So maybe at the end of the year, and let's add in a 2-week tournament in the other side of the world in the middle of the season for the Beijing Olympics. Is he going to wear down by the end of the season? It's a possibility, but I'm going to have to see it to believe it at this point, because I'm done declaring that Ovechkin is finished, because I'm done looking stupid at this point. I'm just going to wait until it happens and then say, okay, now he's regressed. It'll happen at some point, but I'm not going to predict it anymore.
I loved it when he went out on that bender after winning the Stanley Cup. Just kept rolling around with everybody with the cup. I was waiting for him to come up to Hartford up there. I'm like, come on, dude, come on up here. Yeah, I'll take a ride with that.
It was great to see them have fun with it. Hockey's such a button-up sport and button-up culture. It was great to see a bunch of guys really enjoy winning the cup.
Exactly. Well, Josh, thanks for joining us tonight. I hope you have a great time watching late night hockey, 10 o'clock tonight. I guess that's on NBC Sports Washington, right?
Yes, they'll be on NBC Sports Washington.
Yeah, so it's going to be late night hockey, and the guys are actually at the arena this year, right? They're not sitting at home in their local. Sometimes some people might be in their bathrooms broadcasting.
No, as far as the radio guys are at home, the TV guys are at home. They're not traveling still.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
When is that going to happen? Is that going to change? Because I know I was talking to a couple Ken Singleton this year for baseball, and he was telling me after the All-Star break, everybody started going back to stadiums. But I guess with NHL, with all the different areas going on, they're probably going to stay home for a little bit.
It looks that way. It's just, I think the fact that there's a bunch of teams in Canada complicates this a little bit, but those are the decisions that are made way above my pay grade. So
right, exactly.
Hey, Chris, more props. I'm raising my cup right now.
Yeah, we got props too.
We got football.
Yeah, but we're talking hockey here. There's nothing better than Lord Stanley's Cup.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, except that was a little small, though. I was expecting something a little bigger.
Well, you can't. There you go. It's a little bit.
Hey.
Fine. Hey, what do you want to expect? Josh saw the real one a couple years ago and probably went around with it, right? Yeah.
I did see the real one.
Yeah, and you probably touched it, and you probably like, "This is great."
You're not supposed to, but of course, I'm not. I'll never win the Stanley Cup, so absolutely, I touched it.
When I went to Toronto, I touched it.
Hey, that's why we enjoy sports, right? Yeah, that's why we do it. Well, Josh, thanks so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the rest of the night, and we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, see ya.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
All right, Josh Reagan there for the Capitals writer. So,
dude, I got props for everything. Everything.
Where's that sign? Where's that sign you whip out? The one, like for the ESPN guy.
I have it. It's over there.
I love it. I love that. We did that for our buddy Mike Curry. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
Raise the cup, dude.
Yeah, raise the cup. That's what they'll do in May, June, July, whenever the season's over with. Yeah, like
July.
With COVID, they were playing until August, and then they go, "Oh, we got to start the season." Yeah, the next season started. I'm like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to get the summer camp started.
Exactly.
That was a great time, by the way. Going up to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that was a good time.
I'd like to go to Canada one day if they let me in. Yeah.
Hey. Banned from there.
No, I've been in Puerto Rico. That's a long story. Anyway, let's get back to college basketball. We have Coach Ashley Howard from LaSalle taking on Delaware tomorrow night over at the Bob, the Bob Perpington Center. So, Coach, thanks for joining us. How's everything in Philadelphia?
All is well, man. We actually just got here to Delaware today. So just hanging out here in the hotel, about to do a scout meeting here with the team, get ready for the game tomorrow night.
Nice. Well, talk about the game coming up. You guys have 2 games on your belts at home. What you like about your team at home for the last 2 games?
So the one thing that I like about our team is that we've shown the ability to play well at times. We've shown that we could lose our momentum at times as well. So we have a lot to work on. We have some new pieces that we're incorporating. I think we're talented. I think we have a good group of guys that like each other. We're just inexperienced and are learning each other. So. The thing that I like the most is that we can go nowhere but up from where we are right now.
Yeah, you have you got a transfer from Louisville who normally was in the ACC, Josh Nickelberry. What does he bring to the team? Because he's a brand new guy and he's trying to get used to your system. He's been used to Louisville for the last couple of years.
So Josh is a shooting guard that has really good range and he's confident. In his ability. So it's good when you have a guy that can score the ball, that has that swagger. He has that scoring mentality and swag that all good players have. And and the one thing, because he's coming from Louisville, he's been a part of a big time program. He understands how to do things. So he also brings great leadership qualities as well to the program.
So, Coach, I was going through the roster before the show, and how did you end up with Andres Marrero from Venezuela?
So Andreas went to a prep school in New York, and one of my assistants actually saw him prior to the pandemic and really liked him when he was young. Like when he had first got here, he said, "Yo, there's this guard at Upper Room Christian that has a chance to be really good. He's skilled. He can shoot the ball." And then once we got in the pandemic that summer, we weren't able to get out and recruit and see anybody. So midway during the season last year, my assistant said, "Yo, this kid Andreas, man, he really likes us." Because we were looking for a guard, but there were a lot of high school seasons that were delayed and postponed and whatever. So because we had a chance to see him and evaluate him the year before, I knew what he was, and he's a great kid. He's talented. He played on the Venezuelan national team, and it just so happened that one of our other staff members, who was like our video coordinator last year, he played for the Venezuelan national team in the Olympics, right? Right. So there, that was the connection. So one of my assistants identified the kid, and then another one of my assistants had a connection to the kid that we didn't necessarily know existed. And then we were able to land him, and we're excited about him. He's going to be a good young player for us.
Nice. That's awesome. We're here with Coach Howard from LaSalle University. They're taking on the Blue Hens of Delaware tomorrow night at the Bob. So talk about, I know last year you played Delaware in the pandemic, and you guys pulled out a big win against them. What did you – I know you probably studied film yesterday, and then now you're there at Delaware and Newark. What did you just see differently from this year that's from last year?
Well, obviously, I think the addition of Jameer Nelson Jr., makes Delaware a different team. Jameer is dynamic. Obviously, I know him. His father and I are good friends. So I think Jameer adds a element to their team that could really, set Delaware apart, man, and make them one of the better teams in their conference. Because Anderson and Allen are two really strong guards in their own right. Now you add a guard like Jameer Nelson Jr. in addition to Dylan Painter I'm drawing a blank on the other big kid's name, Andrew Carr. I'm sorry, Andrew Carr. I think that I think Delaware's got a strong team, and they're playing well right now.
Hey, a 6'9" player, that's a big guy. 220. That's pretty good for a kid, being that size.
Yeah,
you could put that ball right in the paint, and he could throw some elbows.
Yeah, and Andrew Carr at 6'9" can shoot the three too, man. He's a good player.
Yeah, Coach, talk about your time there where you're at the assistant there at Villanova, and you helped the Wildcats win a pair of championships prior to coming to LaSalle. Then it set the NCAA record for quickest time to for a team to get championships in a short period of time.
You know what? I was unbelievably fortunate to walk into that situation at Villanova at the right time. My first year there, we weren't in the top 25. We were kind of rebuilding, from the outside looking in, but Coach Wright had laid an unbelievable foundation in the year before, bringing in freshman guard Ryan Archidiakono and Daniel Shefu, who, when I came in, they were sophomores and they were leaders of our team. And from a recruiting standpoint, we were able to bring in some other guys that were, under the radar recruits that ended up being, NBA guys, right? So, my time spent at Villanova, it was awesome. Got a chance to work with some really talented players that were coachable, that allowed us to push them and develop them. And it was one of those situations where I think we just had a lot of the right people at the right place at the right time. And we were able to do some really special things. And it was really cool to be a part of.
And plus, you were there for the buzzer beater against North Carolina. That must have been really cool to see in real. Because I remember sitting with my father and my mother watching it, and I was like, all right, North Carolina won this. And all of a sudden Jenkins went down the court, throws a three-pointer, and goes in. And my dad's like, that really happened? I was
Yeah,
like, that
it
really
was-
happened. Yeah, it's like, geez, just like last year with Gonzaga, throwing up
Yeah.
that prayer at the last minute against UCLA. My brother and I were on the phone. We're like, did we just see what we just saw?
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy, buzzer beaters. But if you see them in real person, in real life, it's like it's that cool feeling.
Yeah. And the coolest part about it was that, I think we all saw it developing before it actually happened. And I don't think any of us were surprised that Chris Jenkins made that buzzer beater because he's a big time shooter and like we all had unbelievable confidence in him. But the cool thing is, like, as you prepare at that level, it's all about the preparation, right? And we go over those late game situations all the time, and we never got that shot just because of the way we defend those situations. So when we saw Chris was open, we all knew he was going to get an open look, and we were all confident that he made it. And then when it went in, then it was just like, everybody had an out of body experience. So it was cool.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, I hope you have a great time tomorrow night at Delaware. Hope you bring out a win there in Newark and go back to Philadelphia and get ready for the game against Army later this week. That's going to be pretty cool. You guys have cool uniforms for Military Appreciation Day?
No, so that's a great idea. That's something that we should probably think about moving forward if we ever play Army or Navy. You gave me something, man. We got to go with like the fatigue Adidas uniforms, man. You just gave me an idea. But I really appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Hey, I'm just a guy with the information, and like Home Depot doers or doers or like that thing. I'm the guy who's going to give you some ideas. Like
Coach, don't blow up his ego, okay? We're gonna have to live with this for another 3 weeks now.
It'll be the next week. I'll be like sitting here in the back with a king chair. Hello, everybody, and welcome to.
That's all right. I'll keep you in check.
No, I got a girlfriend to keep me in check. She's in the other room. She's sending me some messages telling me to calm it down. Yeah. Well, Coach Howard, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week, and happy Thanksgiving to us here, and we'll keep in touch.
Awesome, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Happy Thanksgiving, Coach. Good luck.
Right, same to you. Take care.
All right, that's Coach Howard, Ashley Howard from LaSalle University. LaSalle taking on the Blue Hens of Delaware University tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. You can watch that on Flow Sports or flowhoops.com. So,
what a great guy, Chris.
Yeah, and I gave him
some ideas. A great guy.
Yeah, and I thought everybody has like this. I thought when everybody plays, Army, Navy, or Air Force, whatever, they have these cool uniforms. Like last week, a lot of schools had Military Appreciation Day, and they brought out different stickers for the helmets, and I think it's cool to show red, white, and blue on your. It's okay. Give up your colors for 1 week, and it's not a big deal.
Chris, now you know what he's going to do? He's going to go back, talk to his assistants. He's going to go talk to his assistant, his athletic director. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know what? I was on this talk show tonight, and the guy's like, he dropped great idea.
I know, and I won't get any credit here, Chris. I know who. Who's this guy? And why does he bother me?
And you're not going back on his show.
I don't know. He might be playing somebody in, like Towson. I don't know. Sometimes, in the NCAA tournament, you play somebody you already seen like during the season. So let me look at their schedule real quick.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. They're playing. I got Delaware's schedule here. Hold on.
St. Bonaventure, VCU.
VCU. They're not in the CAA anymore.
George Washington, Mason, Dayton Flyers. That's going to be a great game, by the way.
Right.
They play Dayton Flyers on Senior Day, and then they wrap up the season against Duquesne.
Mm-hmm. Jeez. I see it. Blue and Golds. Yeah. Hey, he's playing Villanova next week next Sunday. He's playing his former coach.
See, it's on the show.
Yeah, stop. I should try to get some. Yeah, that's that Philly 5 thing they always talk about. The 5 schools in Philadelphia play each other in not like a tournament, but like a round robin type thing.
And that game's at home.
Yeah,
that would have been a perfect thing. Is Military Appreciation Day, Chris?
Yeah,
and having some camo sneaks,
mm-hmm.
Some camo gear for the game. That'd be freaking great.
Right. I agree with it. I think it would be
But,
cool.
Steve, we got to give Chris props. As much as I don't want to, it's a freaking great idea, man.
Yeah. Hey, I can walk off the set at 8:30 if I have to.
You missed your calling.
I know.
You should have been an athletic director.
Hey, you're 25 minutes late. You're still on.
I know. Well, I love this show. I can't leave it. You know, I can't.
Well, I'm not going to go here, but instead of being an athletic director, you're an athletic supporter. We'll just leave it there.
Exactly. Well, it was funny this morning. Every Tuesday morning, or we do the show. I call the people and say, hey, you're on, making sure you're all set. I called the LaSalle athletic guy who's head of the basketball part. You call in and get on coaches. Well, I make a phone call and it goes right to his voicemail. It goes right. Somehow the voicemail changed into Hispanic.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, did I dial the wrong number?
You pressed 2.
So I called back. It's the same thing. So I called the guy on. I found his cell phone number and I call him. I say, hey, Matt, that's his name. I said, Matt, I think you want to check your office. He's like, why? Your answering machine service and it's Hispanic. He's like, really? And so he's like, yeah. And he goes, well, a lot of people have been texting me about that this morning. I'm like, yeah, I think you may want to fix that. And he's like, I'm sorry about that. I'm like, it's okay. I thought I dialed Puerto Rico.
Once it's just an instance. 2, it's almost repeatable. 3 or more times, you definitely have a problem.
Yeah, I'm thinking somebody played a game with him. So, 8:55 here. We're waiting for the last couple minutes. Hopefully, Gary McDaniels will join us. I think he might be.
Well, if you want to hear a really funny story of when AT&T Stadium opened up down there in Jerryland.
Yep.
When there's no games, they do tours of the stadium. And one of the stops on the tours, you go to Jerry Jones's personal box.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when somebody made a blunder because Jerry Jones has a phone in that office where he can call down to the field.
Oh no!
To talk to the coach or defensive coordinator or whatever.
Yep.
Well, somebody left that phone number on the phone, and people who saw it were writing that number down and calling Jerry Jones during the game, like, what was that play about, Jerry?
Oh my gosh!
It was 867-5309.
That's exactly right. But he said it got so bad they actually had to disconnect the phone and go to walkie-talkies because they had so many people calling in about that.
Oh, wow.
Calling in on his personal box.
So, Chris, obviously, Steve doesn't know my problem with AT&T Stadium. So,
oh yeah, I found out. Him and I were having a conversation the other day. I met this guy a couple of years ago. Didn't know who he was. Okay, we must have ran into each other in the locker room, at the Cowboys locker room, interviewing people. And then I found out from him the other day that my pass that I had for the game kicked him downstairs in the basement. So he went from being, I'm going to have the burrito hot plates and all that stuff to maybe Domino's Pizza or McRib or something down there in the. I'm truly sorry, and I feel like I have to, take care of this guy the next time when we're down there. Maybe I have to, maybe go over to Walmart and get some bags of Doritos and give it to him.
Steve, I'm going down covering Notre Dame. Okay. In the college football playoff against Clemson, okay, I get stuck in the bowels of AT&T Stadium, sitting in a metal chair for 4 quarters. The only bonus that came out of that day was I got to see Joe Theismann. I was like, wait, that's I was on TV. I was on ESPN's banner before the game. Someone had snapped a picture of Jerome Bettis, and there I was walking across, and they must have snapped a photograph. My phone's blowing up. And the guy's like, "Dude, are you in Texas?" I'm like, "Yes." He goes, "Dude, you're on the banner of You're on the banner of ESPN right now."
Oh wow!
Hey, man, sometimes it's good timing.
Yeah, but that was my only moment of the day. Other than that, 4 quarters in the bowels of AT&T Stadium. Thanks, Chris.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Hey,
I owe you one.
I didn't know you. Yeah.
I owe you one.
I know. Now I owe you one for a better view. But anyway, for next week we'll be on next Tuesday night. we're going to wrap up the show here. Next Tuesday, we're going to, we got Earl Campbell's son, Christian Campbell, going to be joining us next week. We're going to talk about the Earl Campbell Award, because their semifinals come out this Friday. So we're going to talk to him next week, on Tuesday. And then Steve Tasker might be stopping by, the Bills great, because the Bills and Saints are playing on Sunday Night Football. For Thursday Night Football, Thursday Night Thanksgiving Football. They're the 4 games they have now on Thanksgiving besides the CFL game. Yeah, they should have something almost like that. It's the Bills and Saints at 8:30 on NBC after the Cowboys and the don't call me Vegas Raiders. I think I want to call them Oakland. Yeah, they're the Oakland Raiders. Come on, the Raiders. The Raiders, and then you got the Bills and then you got the Bears and Lions at 12 noon or 12:30 when you're trying to take a nap before Thanksgiving. So before we go, I got to do a shout out to my cousins. One of my cousins who I knew a little bit about passed away over the weekend.
I'm sorry to hear that, Chris.
Yeah, he had complications he had heart surgery, and he had complications with the new heart. And he was born with a bad heart in the first place. And this kid was alive for 18 years with the bad heart. That's fantastic. I'm sorry. Anything, he was supposed to be long gone before he was like a year old or 2 years old, but he toughed it out for 17 and a half years. And, he had to, say, I guess when you replace an engine in a car, sometimes the new engine doesn't work. Yeah, that happens, and
yep.
So I made this little video thing for him. So hold on.
So sorry.
There you go. I made a little something this afternoon. A little bit. His name was Daniel. So Daniel Weiss there. So how do you use the song? I know Daniel.
It's a good play.
Yeah. But I know the Daniel song from Elton John is not really. It's about a friend named Daniel, but we don't know the whole story about Daniel. But I just think that song was just appropriate.
Yeah.
Good
touch.
So, long, tough weekend for us, but we're good to go. And I know Ewan's up in Connecticut with a funeral up there, so hopefully he's okay up there with his friends or whatever happened. Condolences to his friends, or whoever's up there. Hey, it's sad. So we'll see you guys probably next Tuesday night at 7:30. We'll just be on for an hour. We'll get ourselves cleaned up before Thanksgiving, and I'll try to get Gary on and see how. Clemson, it has to have a home game against Wake Forest this week, so that's going to be a very interesting game. And I'm going to try my best to get up to Pittsburgh this Saturday to see Pittsburgh and Virginia play each other. That's going to be the winner of the Coastal Division because my Seminoles knocked Miami out last week. So,
you're getting up to the Berg, huh, Chris?
Huh?
You're getting up to the Berg?
Yeah, I'm going to. It's 3:30. It's easier on my schedule this week than the last couple.
Have you been there before?
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times, but with my schedule, when I'm working on Sundays, it's kind of they put me in like early in the morning, so I can't really drive all the way up there and do 4 hours and drive all the way back and then try to go for work the next day. It's like so. This actually works out because the next day I work later in the afternoon, so that works for me.
Oh, there you go. Well, you know where you got to go, and you know what you got to have for me.
I know. Nicole and I were talking about it today.
For Manny Brothers.
Yes, we're going to stop there on the way home. We might go to the original one in Pittsburgh. We'll try. You got to try.
We have to.
We have to. We got to find that location. Maybe that's why we leave a little early. Our place went to York. Yeah, go to the original one. Take some pictures and just use it against George next week. George will come right for the TV set and beat me down. Yeah.
I'm just going to shoot your daggers now.
Hey, it's better than we didn't have what's his name on the night, but hey, it's great. Sorry that he's not around for this one.
I think, Chris, this was another great show.
Yeah, we had a great time.
It was another great show.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't get Calvert Hall and Loyola, the football, the Turkey Bowl here in Maryland, but we'll try to get them on next week. Next Tuesday, I'll see if we can get them on a little bit earlier. but with coaches and all that stuff. Thanks to Josh Reagan from the Capitals beat writer joining us, and also Kyle Troup stopping by, and also our great interview with the Chicago Bears. 1980. Tom Thayer. He was good guy. I texted him last week. I get this like black book, the NFL black book they give me, and I saw his phone number. I'm like, well, people get offended. I go, why do you put phone numbers in his black book that knowing that people in the media are going to text them? And I'm like, I was hoping for like he's going to send me like, who the blank are you? Why are you texting me? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I can come on. I'm like, geez, okay.
We'll have to get together with him after the holidays, and you can come on my show, and we'll do something with him on my show. Yeah, you should. We'll do a crossover thing. You can talk Thursday football with him, and I'll send you the email and his phone number tonight before I go to bed. Awesome, dude. If I don't send it to you, text me and remind me. Okay. Yep. So, all right, buddy. Well, that's George Bashara, our good friend from the Shakedown Thunder, and Steve Zillow's doing a fantastic job. His third week in a row. He's still coming back, folks. He'll be back next Tuesday. Yeah. And I'll be here next Tuesday at 7:30, and we'll have a great time getting ready for Thanksgiving and all that stuff. So now until then, I'm Chris Heidel. Have a wonderful evening, and I do have to play this before we leave. Yeah, it's I got to put a little more salt in the wounds for Miami fans. See ya.
Travis again, and he got in. Touchdown Seminoles.